All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joannis or Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in Accra, Ghana, and we're trying something new today. So I got two different lives going on. Well, three technically four. So I'm live on my personal fan page on Facebook. Um, that is the Joannis Hatagwa page on Facebook over there. I'm also on YouTube and on Facebook with Authentic African on my laptop. And then I'm on Instagram Live on my cell phone. So thanks to everybody for stopping by. I see you all on Instagram Live. It's pretty active over there. So thanks everybody for stopping by. I'm saying hi to you all. So give me a second just to say my hellos. And we're going to give some time for everyone on YouTube to join as well. So topic of today's conversation is 7 months in, living here in Ghana. Do I regret it? How do I feel about living here so far? And then, of course, as always, you can ask me your questions. There's a lot of people on Instagram Live. I love seeing the people come through. Well, not a lot of people, but a few people joining. So we're going to give it a few minutes to give it some time for people to come in. If you're on Instagram, you might notice it's very bright in here. And if you're on YouTube, it's not as bright. I'm using a ring light. I just got a ring light this last weekend. So I'm testing it out, see how it looks, how it's working. But like, this is open to everybody. So if you have any questions for me about what my life has been like here in Ghana, I'm definitely down to answer it. Some quick introductions for those of you who don't really know me on Instagram. I think those of you on YouTube know me by face and by name, because on YouTube, I've been doing a lot more lives and a lot more content, of course, that surrounds me. Whereas with Instagram, it's been more of a faceless page. So some of you are not even aware of who I am. And so you might be seeing me for the first time on the Instagram Live. So my name is Joe Hatagwa. I'm a Sierra Leonean American living here in Accra, Ghana. I was born and raised in the US, but in 2009 was the first time as an adult I went to Sierra Leone. Thanks, Edward, for the compliments on the lighting. Good. Oh, the screen's blurred for you, Tico. Sorry. Let me know if you're still having issues seeing you on the Instagram Live. I am on two different Wi-Fis, so I'm trying to split up the bandwidth so it's not all on one Wi-Fi. So this phone is on my phone's Wi-Fi and the laptop is on the house Wi-Fi. So hopefully you guys are able to hear me and see me. It does seem like my signal is interrupted a little bit on Instagram Live. Sorry about that, guys. Let me try to see if I can fix that. But in the meantime, so just a little bit more about myself. I've been here in Ghana since December of 2020. I decided to move to Ghana to pursue a career in advising and investing in startups. So the goal is to one day be a prolific investor like the likes of Warren Buffett, having done investments in the US. And so I like to do the same thing here. So let me pin my YouTube channel. It's a good idea. So for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm also talking to some of my people on Instagram as well. I'm going to pin my YouTube channel for them, and so that way they can come on to YouTube if that's a little easier. So let me do that really quickly. But let's get into the questions while I'm doing that. So some people say they can hear me fine on Instagram. Great. On YouTube, all of my YouTube people, let me know. Can you guys hear me? I see some comments coming in. Ms. P is on as usual. Thanks for coming. Sources TV Ghana, you're always here. Love it. Mo Roberts, looking forward to talking to you. You're Sierra Leonean living in Florida. I lived in Florida at one point. I could give you all kinds of thoughts and ideas and feelings about living in Jacksonville for 1 year, but we'll leave that to another day and time. All right, cool. So the lighting looks good. They say they can hear me. Let me just pin my YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com. It's just Authentic African. So if you just search Authentic African on YouTube, I'm not sure how I can do that while I'm on the live. That's really tough to do. So I think I'm just gonna have to just say, go to Authentic African on YouTube. You'll find me there. Okay, cool. So a couple things real quick, just to give you kind of an update. So here's where I am today, right? The question I posed to you all was, do you think that I regret being here? I've been here 7 months living in Ghana, and I absolutely do not regret moving here. Actually, it's probably the best decision I've ever made. Living in Ghana for me has been one of the more eye-opening experiences in my life. You know, I've lived in New York, Pennsylvania, Florida, California. You know, technically I co-own a property in Sierra Leone. And so, you know, guys, let me know if it's really blurred for you guys on Instagram. If it is, then I would say go to YouTube and watch it on YouTube. I think there's a link in my bio that at least goes to one of the lives on my page, and then you'll be able to find it. This is the first time doing this, so for future reference, I'll know what to do next time. And I'll make sure to just put the link to the live right there in the description. But I can't leave the live now to do that. So I'm just gonna let it go for now, and then, you know, you guys, okay, so some people say it's coming in just fine for them. So it might be on your end. Sorry, whoever that was that mentioned that it wasn't coming through for them. All right, cool. So yeah, I've lived in a lot of places, and Ghana by far has been the most eye-opening and the greatest experience so far. You know, I really do love living here. The quality of life is so much better than what I had living in the US. Just the cost of living, my dating experiences, just like my work-life balance. The more opportunities are available to me because my skill set is highly sought after here on the continent, right? So that makes it so that it's a whole lot easier for me to get consulting gigs. You know, like last year, during the pandemic, when I was in the US, I was looking to try to consult with a lot of companies that I had previously worked with. And I was having a really hard time getting business from them because of the pandemic, but because those companies don't tend to bring on a lot of contractors in the way that I work. But on the continent, you know, they'll be more flexible with how they work with you. So I've been able to get more work here. It's not as consistent as I'd like, but it does allow me to cover my expenses, and I'm building a house and all of those things. So it does allow me to do those things. All right, so people are still coming in on Instagram and on YouTube. There's a few questions coming in on YouTube. So let me start answering some of these questions. So let's start with the YouTube question. Okay, let me just get my mouse going. All right, so a couple questions. So the first question was from Sources TV Ghana, which, by the way, is always on my lives and always watching my videos. So I really do appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I love to see that people come back and are enjoying the content. So I really appreciate that. So the question is, oh, my live got paused on Instagram. It's reconnecting. Okay, sorry, my live got paused on Instagram, so I'm gonna say the question. So the question from Sources TV Ghana is, do I want to buy land in Ghana? And the answer is yes. I do want to buy land in Ghana, but I'm first working on the property I have in Sierra Leone. So Sierra Leone is really where my family heritage is. You know, both my parents were born and raised in Sierra Leone. I've been going back. I'm more closer to that culture just because I've heard it in my mother's house and seen it with my parents. But also it's just something I'm more familiar with in a land that I know. So I'm starting there, and I'm actually building a house as we speak. It's going to be a 3-story, 3-apartment complex with a caretaker's quarters, a rooftop bar, like fully decked out. It's really going to be a really, really nice house. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that is what I'm building in Sierra Leone. As I get closer to completion there, I'm then going to start looking into where I can buy land here in Ghana. Right now is the best time to buy land in Ghana. Really, anytime like now is always the best time to buy land in Ghana. So like a year from now, I'll probably say it's the best time to buy land in Ghana. And a year from then, because it's only going to get more expensive, the more and more people are coming there and people are learning about how amazing it is to live in Ghana. So I would recommend if you're looking to buy land, you should. And so the other question from Sources TV Ghana was, what makes me love Ghana? So I love a lot about Ghana. Like I said, quality of life. And I mentioned this previously, but in my workplace, just people of color in every level of the organization, right? There doesn't need to be a conversation about diversity in terms of color. There does need to be a conversation around diversity in terms of gender, but and there needs to be gender balance. But in terms of diversity of color, that's not even a conversation because, of course, we're the majority here. We're not the minority. So that's not even something we have to think about. So I could walk around my everyday life and not even think about having to think about my race and how I'm representing a race for other races of people or people who are in power. So to me, that's like kind of one of the priceless things about living in Ghana, for sure, or living in West Africa, period. So when I'm in Sierra Leone, it's the same thing. So that's one of the things I love about Ghana. I also love the history and the preservation of the history and the culture. Ghana is very big on remembering things of the past in terms of the transatlantic slave trade and so many other things beyond that, right? The history and culture of Ghana is really, really cool, and I think it's important. And I love the national pride. You see the Ghanaian flag everywhere. No matter where you go, that flag is flying everywhere. So I really do love seeing that national pride. So those are the things I love about Ghana. I'm actually going to do a video called 10 Things I Love About Ghana. So make sure you check that out. I'll go in more detail. There'll be pictures and videos and all that kind of stuff. So that's coming soon. All right, cool. So Mo Roberts asks, so this question from earlier, I may allow some guests to come on and join me and talk to me directly. I gotta see about that first. I'm not really sure if I'm ready to do that as of yet, but I might. So let me take a question from Instagram Live. The question is, what's the minimum investment one should expect to be successful in an enterprise like yours? That's a great question. And so it's a tough question to answer because I have a multifaceted business. I have 2 e-commerce stores. I'm not as focused on those as I have been on other things, just because I had moved to a new country and I'm focused on other things. But for me, my house is probably the biggest investment, and it's probably going to be about $70,000 to $100,000 when it's all said and done. And so I'm paying for it in parts, and so it is pretty expensive, but it's not all due at once. Ghana's a little bit better with this, but you can get loans here. Somebody had recommended to me at one point in time getting a loan in the U.S., buying property here. I am not an expert in those kinds of things, but I can tell you that is something that some people do. So maybe that's something to consider. But it depends on what kind of business you're talking about. When it comes to real estate, you're paying cash for the most part, and you're going to pay for the work that needs to be done at each stage along the process. To tell you how much I've spent so far, building a wall around the property, excavating the land, and right now I'm on the foundation of the caretaker's quarters. That has been about $25,000 to $30,000 so far spent on that. So it is pretty costly for sure. It's gonna, but it's nowhere near what it would cost in the U.S., right, to build a house from scratch. So that's what I would say about that. There are other less expensive businesses you can start, like a online retail business where you're buying wholesale, selling retail. You can do that here. I do that in the US. Technically, I do drop shipping. That investment has been about $180 per month plus advertising. So that varies between $200 and $300 a month. And then, of course, you always want to look at your margins and how much money you're making to determine if you want to continue to invest in that. But those are the kinds of businesses that I have. Now, with the YouTube and social media, the investment is really time, energy, and effort on my part. And I do also have a social media manager based in Nigeria And not to give away her salary per se, but it's let's say between $200 and $400 a month to run a couple pages for me and post a couple times a day and come up with content, and to do a community engagement. So that's about the cost in that range. So depending on what kind of business you're in determines how much it's going to cost you. But as you can see, I have a lot of money coming out from my businesses, so I do need to make sure money is coming in. And so I have to be very frugal outside of business. And so most of the income I generate goes directly to my businesses because, I'm trying to build these multiple streams of income. So it's a great question. So those are the questions from Instagram Live. Let's head back over to YouTube and Facebook to see what other questions came up. Okay, Mo Roberts says, I'm a Sierra Leonean living in Florida, but very interested in looking forward to going back home to help contribute to its betterment and help better the lives of fellow Sierra Leoneans. Absolutely. For all you Sierra Leoneans out there watching, most of my content over the next couple of weeks, at least my content that comes out Saturdays, is going to be from my trip to Sierra Leone recently. And I'm going to be going back in about a month, so I'm going to be getting more content. But what I will say is Ghana, over the last 20 years or so, and I guess I heard really over the last 10, 15 years, has had a lot of expats or a lot of repats, former people who are Ghanaian or Ghanaian descent have come back and really started to develop the country. And so you're really seeing with Ghana advancements, right? You see a lot of electronics companies in terms of like for instance, I went to buy a ring light and there was a couple places that I could go to buy. It's still hard to come by, but they import these things. They're available here in person. Amazon delivers here if you're into that. There's also Jumia, which is more of a local e-commerce company, which I also work for, based here in Ghana. Sierra Leone is not there yet. And so we do need more people like you, Mo, people that I know that are already living there, myself, to go back and really start to help develop and improve certain things there so that we can get to a place where more people would like to come and visit who maybe aren't Sierra Leonean. Right now, most of the people who I've seen that go to Sierra Leone, especially Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, they tend to be of Sierra Leonean descent. We don't get too many, tourists coming through and building a tourism economy. And so I'd love to see more of that. And so it's going to take more people like you, Mo, and other people like us to be going. Hella was saying, hello, it's 9 p.m. Sorry, I must have started a little late. My apologies if I did. Okay, cool. Let's see. What other questions and comments do we have? Okay, Mo Roberts asks, how's life in Ghana? What are some of the challenges you faced? And what are some of the benefits have you been enjoying? So I've already said the benefits, what I like about living here. Some of the challenges that I face is, I might have talked about this before, but some of the basic things that I'm so used to just working automatically don't necessarily work here. For instance, hot water. I moved into an apartment that didn't have hot water. There's a little bit of a dispute about whether or not I was told beforehand. I'm still disputing whether or not I was told beforehand that there was no hot water, but I went and purchased the hot water heaters and I paid for the workmanship. And we split the cost on some of the elements here, me and the building that I'm living in. And the plumber who came to do it, when he did the installation of the hot water pipes, they didn't make sure it was done properly. And so now there's a leak. So now I can't use two of the three bathrooms that are here cannot be used because there's a leak now. So I went to do something to improve it and it actually made it unusable. So at least I could have used it with cold water before. Now I can't use it at all because there's a leak and you can see it on the wall in the room. You can see like the wall is wet. I'm going to show you guys that in my weekly update that I'm going to put out this Wednesday, I think it's going to be. And so there you'll get a chance to see that. But so I would say those are some of the challenges, I would say, things like that. Also speed in which things are done. Ghanaians are very chill, laid back people, and it's like that really a lot of times in the West Africa period. Certain areas, certain cities are a little bit more, on it and move a little bit faster. But here in Ghana, what I've noticed is that it can be a little bit chill. So sometimes the service workers in particular can be a little bit slow moving when it comes to things. A little bit of an upfront payment can go a long way, but don't get too carried away. But I think sometimes if you incentivize people with a little bit of a cash incentive, it helps to get things sped up and to get things going. So that's my recommendation there. Let's see. Can I build a nice house in Sierra Leone for $50,000 to $75,000? Yes, you absolutely can. In Sierra Leone, you can do that. It depends on where you're buying and what you're building, but my budget is probably going to be more on the higher end of that. But if you wanted to just build a one-story house, you can build a really nice one-story house for $50,000 or even less. They usually say expect to spend $10,000 to $15,000 per floor, and then the finishings go on top of that. So it depends on what kind of finishings you're going to do, but you absolutely can build a house for that price in Sierra Leone. In Ghana, it's a different pricing model. As far as I understand, it's a little bit more expensive. The economy is a little bit, labor is a little bit more expensive. So it's more expensive here in Ghana. I don't have the pricing. I haven't really looked into it too much in terms of buying, but there are a few YouTubers who have talked about the buying experience or have done videos on real estate. I actually was interviewed by one, Vanessa Canby. She's really popular. You probably know who she is already. She definitely has done a bunch of stuff on houses that are relatively inexpensive to houses that are like giant estates. So I would definitely check out Vanessa Canby's channel, or just type in Vanessa Canby real estate on YouTube, and you'll definitely find her info. So Iwurama, is it Iwurama? I'm sorry if I'm messing your name up. Am I in Sierra Leone at the moment? I am not at the moment. The content I'm going to be posting from Sierra Leone is from when I was there, beginning of last month, from April to the beginning of last month. It took a while to get through some of the editing of some of the other content that I had already in the queue. So I've been posting a lot more Ghana stuff. So what you'll see from me over the next few weeks is probably good to tell everybody here is on Mondays, I'll be live while I'm here in Ghana, of course. Wednesday will be my previous week. So that'll be live and what's happened the last week. And then on Saturday is going to be some vlogs from while I was in Sierra Leone. So this Saturday is my birthday vlog. My birthday passed a while back, but it's my birthday vlog part 1 and part 2 this Saturday and next Saturday. And then after that, I'm going to be doing other content over from when I was in Sierra Leone. So there's a ton to show there for you guys. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you all. But yeah, for sure, you guys are going to see some of my content from Sierra Leone. But at the moment, I'm in Ghana, but I will be back in Sierra Leone in about 4 weeks or so. I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I'm looking into ticket prices as we speak. All right, cool. So that's that so far with the questions on YouTube. Let me know if you guys have any more questions for me. Let's look at IG Live. So many of our ancestors and family and friends have settled in Ghana over my lifetime. Yeah. I mean, Ghana's a place, Pan-African movement is huge here. I mean, even if you look at the Ghana flag, right, it's, you can probably see it back here in my background, but you can see that it's red, yellow, green, and black, right? And those are actually the colors of the Pan-African flag, right? And so Kwame Nkrumah was a prominent Pan-Africanist living in the UK before he actually came back to Ghana and became the prime minister and then eventually the first president of Ghana. So and he built he did the flag based on the Pan-African flag colors. If you look at the authentic African logo, that's based on the Pan-African flag. Like you can see it in the upper right-hand corner. Whether you're following me on Instagram Live, it's the profile picture for Authentic African, or if you're watching on YouTube Live, it's the picture in the upper right-hand corner here. But yeah, I mean, if you can see, it's similar in colors to the Ghana flag, and that was purposeful. So for sure, I mean, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Maya Angelou, they all came to Ghana when Kwame Nkrumah was president. And that was a big part of the founding of this country, was really around Pan-Africanism and the advancement of Africans in Africa and in the diaspora. So for sure, there's actually a big Pan-African festival happening. There was a big event today. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to because I was in the office all day. If you can't tell by how I'm dressed, this is how I dress to go to work. So I was in the office all day, so I wasn't able to go. But there's actually a Pan-African festival happening right now here in Ghana. So it's a very big part of the founding of this country. All right, cool. Any other questions for me on Instagram? Let me see what we got. Let's see. Any questions? A lot of people joining, jumping on, jumping off. Try to get to everyone if I can. All right. Let's see. Any more questions for me, guys? I'm trying to multitask here. So send me your questions either on Instagram Live or on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. I'll answer your questions if I can. All right, somebody requested to be on the live, so let me let them on Instagram Live and see how it goes. Actually, you know what? This is Osahan. Is this Osahan from like Milton Hershey Osahan, or is this another Osahan? Let's see. Oh, there's someone else. Let's see. I'm gonna go live. Let's see how it works. And while we wait for it, let me know your other questions here on YouTube Live. If you have any other questions, I'll see if I can get you guys live on YouTube Live as well. It didn't look like, let's try it again. Go live. Or is it is it Oshun? All right, you know what? Why not? I'm gonna let people get on. If you wanna go live with me and ask me any questions live, I'm more than happy to do that. In the meantime, there was a question. Are there barriers if you can't speak the language? In Ghana, no. The most common language spoken here is English. Second most common language is Twi, which is a local language here in Ghana. So most everybody speaks English here, so no barriers with the language. Let's see. I'm having a hard time being able to let Oshan on the live. Let's try it again. Any other questions? Anybody else want to go live? Let's see. Are there no more warring factions in the area? So that's Edward. I'm guessing you're saying in Sierra Leone. No, not really. You know, there's political contention as there is always. As of right now, from what I've seen, there's, you know, civil war is long over, and I don't see that happening again. But no warring factions. And then Edward asks, what is the political atmosphere there where you are? So I'm in Ghana right now, and it would seem that, as with every West African country in which the people I've spoken to or the country I've been in, there has been displeasure with people in power, but that's not new, right? That's always the case, right? I think people always could use more help, especially in the service industry. There's always a need for more jobs and more, you know, more of an economy and things like that. So that's just been what I hear. The same I hear in Sierra Leone. But in both regimes, what I understand, at least what they've run on, is anti-corruption and moving the countries forward. But I tend not to get too deep into the political discussions because those things can be very contentious. And for someone who didn't grow up on the continent, and I'm observing mostly as an outsider, and just recently had the ability to vote in Sierra Leone, I tend to leave that to the local people to discuss how they feel about politics locally. So that's what I'll say for now, and until I've been here a little bit longer and I have more time to study the political parties, I'll leave it at that. At least for Ghana and Sierra Leone, there are two political parties. There was one political party in power for about 10 years or so, or maybe even a little longer than that. And then there's another political party who just took over, or they're in their second term. And so I haven't been able to vote as of yet. Actually, they're in their first term. I haven't been able to vote as of yet, so I can't tell you much about what the voting process is like yet, but I will be voting in the next election in Sierra Leone for sure. Okay, so Stephanie was who I was trying to go live with before. I don't think we're going live anymore, Stephanie, unless you want to request to join again. Is there anybody else that wants to go live and ask me any questions live? I'm more than happy to answer any questions for anybody who wants to go live. Let me know if you want to go live. I will try to get you on here. Let's see. All right, so Mo Roberts is asking how he can go live. I'm actually going to have to share with you. Send me a private chat. Let me see if I can chat with you privately, Mo. You can send me your email and I can send you a link. I don't know if you can send me a private chat. Can you send me a private chat here? Sorry, I'm having a hard time with that. I'm thinking if you don't mind everyone seeing your email in the chat, you can send me your email and I can send you the link so that you can get on here. Because I know you've been asking if you can jump on live. So, all right, cool. There you go. Okay, Mo, sorry, Mo, didn't mean to put it up on screen. Okay, so Mo, okay, so I'm gonna add you, Mo. At gmail.com. Okay, so I'm gonna send you the invite. Let's see how that works. And then you can join. And then hopefully we can get you on and we can talk to you about what your questions are. Let's see. So I'm emailing Mo. So Mo Roberts is going to join in just a moment on YouTube Live. So those of you watching on Instagram, you'll be able to hear him through the other screen, but you won't be able to see him because he's on YouTube Live, and I'm doing YouTube Live and Instagram Live at the same time. So, but hopefully you'll be able to hear. You guys just let me know if you have a hard time hearing. In the meantime, let me get you on here, Mo. Okay, Mo. So I'm sending you the link now, Mo. So in the meantime, let's see if we can get anybody else. Any other questions? Anybody else wanting to go live? Just scrolling through the Instagram messages, IG Live. Okay, while I do that, let me know if there are any other questions, guys, on YouTube. Let's see. Okay, here's a question. Okay, what is your start to finish day like? What's your favorite and not so favorite parts of your day? Your stress level seems non-existent. Okay, so yeah, my day starts at 6 a.m. or before then. I work out, drink fruit juice that my housekeeper makes, because I do have a housekeeper. And I have fruits, like cut up fruits, so like apples, bananas, mangoes, sometimes papayas. And so I have that in my fruit juice in the morning after I do my workout, a little bit before, a little bit after. I always check my emails. I have a couple of different companies I'm with right now. So I'm working full-time for one, I'm an advisor for others, and I'm also a consultant for another. So I check some of those emails, just make sure I look at my calendar for the day so I'm prepped for and ready to go. And as of right now, as the last couple of weeks, I actually go into the office every day. So I get dressed for work no matter if I'm going out or not. But I get dressed, go into after showering, right? Get dressed, go into the office. Usually at the office till about 6 p.m. Come back home and do some additional work. So usually that's for one of the companies I'm advising on a board of a nonprofit based in DC and Sierra Leone. So today we actually had a call. We're working on our first cohort. It's a accelerator program, and we had the board had a call today. So I did that, and then I had a live today. So I had to prepare for the live, make sure I got my ring light set up, had to set my phone up so that I could do this call, and then make sure that my computer was all set up. So yeah, I mean, my day can start at 6 and end at 12 a.m. But the reason why I'm not that stressed, even with all the little nuances and challenges that I have, is because I'm getting to do everything that I love. You know, I'm doing what I want to do, and not what I have to do anymore. The quality of life is such, even though I have expenses, I don't have as many expenses as I had in the US. It's just the cost of living in the US is so high that, you know, running a business and running your life costs you so much money. Whereas here, I'm still running my business, but running my life costs me so much less money. My rent is very cheap. Some people say it's like expensive for Ghana, but it's super cheap. It's cheaper than like anywhere I've ever seen anybody pay rent in the US, especially for 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. So my rent's really cheap. So I have a great quality of life. But yeah, I mean, I'm up early and I go to bed late, but I'm doing things that I love and I'm doing things with purpose. So it doesn't really stress me out that much. Some things do stress me out, but I'm not as stressed as I could be in that case. Let's see, Mo, are you having a hard time getting on? Da, 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 da. Mo, let me know if the email never got through to you because I just sent it to you. Let's see, who else? Hopefully that answers your question. There was another question from Ms. P. Joe, during rainy season, does the flooding get really bad in Accra? So where I am, no. It can rain pretty heavily. You know, it's like a torrential downpour. It kind of reminds me of like Miami. If you're in the US and you've ever been to Miami, and you can see like how it's like a torrential downpour, you'll see some of that sometimes, but at least where I am, no. But there are areas where the land is not so developed and they haven't really paved the ground. And so in those areas, other parts of Chato, actually where I live, those puddles get really deep. And so like, you know, the cars that are like drivers for Uber and Bolt have like those really tiny wheels and they're really tiny cars, right? They're like those compact or economy size vehicles, right? So like they look like Matchbox cars. They're like this big, right? Those have a hard time driving through there. So I would definitely say that there are instances where that happens, but the rainy season hasn't been as bad here as it can be in Sierra Leone. So for me, I don't see it as such a bad thing. The rainy season hasn't been so bad for me. Hopefully that answers your question, Ms. P. Okay, Mo Roberts did get the live, so he'll be joining shortly. What'd you say? My daughter said she is trying to be the female version of you. Well, thank you. She should be the best version of her, though. But I do really appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Ms. P says, I live in Jersey and have been to Miami. So you know what Miami is like when it rains. That's what it can be like sometimes here, but it's not as constant as I've seen. At least right now, I'm here during the rainy season. It hasn't been too bad. So iTuber12 says, any up and coming neighborhoods you know of in Sierra Leone, in Ghana? There are many developments happening, so I'm curious if you know. Okay, Mo, I'll let you on in a second. Let me just answer this question. So up and coming neighborhoods in Sierra Leone, yes. People talk about, Regent is a neighborhood I say is kind of up and coming. It's kind of a suburb of Freetown, but I think, you know, as with any suburb right outside of a major city, right, it starts to get more populated. So you want to buy now. And so that as people start moving out of the city, you'll have a place that'll always be desirable for rent and still close enough to the capital city. So that's definitely a recommendation I would make is there in regions. And then here in Ghana and Accra, Chado, the area that I'm in right now, is developing. This only, but that's all I know. There may be other areas, but I do know Chado right now has a lot of areas that are still underdeveloped. And so there's an opportunity when you see an area that's undeveloped, but then you see parts of the area that are really nice. There are bakeries and restaurants and bars and stuff starting to come here. I think you're like going to get ahead of that wave. So that'd be my recommendation in terms of buying. But also the other thing in the US, what they always say is you want to have the worst looking house in the best neighborhood, right? Because if once you upgrade it, it's going to raise the property value with everything else. I say out here, it's a little different because, they're up and coming neighborhoods, and 10, 15, 20 years from now, these neighborhoods will be densely populated and you will have property and land in the area. Let me let Mo on because he's been trying to get on for a while. So let me let Mo on to ask his question. So Mo, are you there? Mo, can you hear me? You're on mute. So guys, on Instagram Live, I'm going live on YouTube with Mo. Mo, you're muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Oh, your mic isn't connected, Mo. So I think once you connect your mic, we'll bring you back on. All right, cool. So in the meantime, while he works on that, there were some more questions. Let's see. Pro Woman J, welcome back to the live. Thanks for coming. Is it back and forth to US strategy to stack cash while funding your African ventures a future consideration? Not really, because stacking cash in the US for me is no different than stacking cash here. So because of the pandemic, so many people are working remotely. And because most of the companies I've worked with are multinational and they have offices in the UK or in Europe, I tend to spend a lot of time working with those companies while I'm here in West Africa. So I don't really see a need necessarily to go back to the US. The only reason why I would do that is to work full time, and then it goes back into expenses of living in the US again, right? So new expenses. So I like to keep it here with less expenses. And so I don't plan to be going back to the US, at least to stack cash. I may go back to do other things like buy property and things like that. But in terms of my financial future, I see most of that here on the continent, to be honest. But great question, Pro Woman J. All right, it looks like Mo has his mic back on and plugged in. So let me add Mo to the live. Mo, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joe. It's nice to come across your channel and see the great work you and guys like Wode Maya and so many other people are doing around the African continent, and makes me feel inadequate at times. On our stories are somewhat switch around a little bit. I was born and raised in Sierra Leone for the first 15 years of my life. I moved to the US in 1995 during the height of the Civil War. So I've spent most of my adult life here in the US. I'm married with 2 kids and practicing law here in Florida. So I still have the vast majority of my family back home in Sierra Leone, dad, stepmom, siblings. And I was back home in 2019, but then COVID hit. My plan is to go every 2 years. Have 2 young kids, 4 and 7 years old. So my reality is different, a little bit different from yours. I just can't leave and say, "Hey, honey, I'm going home for a couple of years. I'll see you back in a." I just can't tell my clients that, or my judges that, or my employer that, and you know. I see your channel. I see so many people doing great work back home, and even the entire continent. And I get motivated, but also in some ways feel some sense of guilt. Hey, honey, daddy. Hey, daddy's on the phone. Go in your room, please. Sorry, I have a 4-year-old.
No worries. I get it.
But seeing you and talking to other people who have similar interests is so motivating, and seeing somebody who's born and raised in the US and have so much interest back going back home, whether it's Ghana or Sierra Leone, and trying
Right.
to better, better himself and better the lives of fellow Africans is really motivating. And when I came across your channel, I was at work and just, lunch break going through YouTube, and I came across your channel and I had to pause. It's one of those times where I just had a moment. I was like, wow, this guy left a six-figure job at who, you know, venture capital, and that's a risky and really tough move to make. Not a lot of people do that because you get comfortable.
Right.
And you lived in the US, so you know the realities of student loans. One, which is
Yep.
one of the realities of my life, is
Yeah.
I just don't have the luxury to say, I'll move back home when I have so much, not only, having my wife who's also a practicing attorney and two young kids, but also I
Yeah.
have student loans here, which, in the next 2, 3 years will be paid off. And we
Nice.
plan to
Congratulations.
move, we plan to move back home at least for
Okay.
half. Yeah, my wife is African American. She was born in she was born in South Carolina. We met in law school, and
Okay.
she's very interested in coming home with me. She's not been home to Sierra Leone, and
Okay.
so we're looking at buying a piece of land right now, which, and also building. So when I saw your story about building a home, you know,
Yeah.
and one of the things you said that was really really important is, when you're building a home, think, be careful dealing with family members, and because when you have family involved in that, the realities is, if a family messes up your home, what are you going to do? Your choices are limited. So,
Mhm.
instead of sitting on money here in savings accounts, and we have, investments, whether it's the stock market, 401k, it's like you don't get an interest rate with the bank. So forget about that. They invest in your
Right.
money. And so to talk to somebody who's on the ground right now, like yourself, who has the background of coming from the US, to say, okay,
Right.
what can you tell somebody like myself who's saying, okay, I want to go back home.
Right.
I don't intend to retire in the US. I really don't.
Right.
And at least half of the year, our retirement age, want to be living back home. Less stress and so much, advantages in either way. But
Yeah.
what's the best move to make? Like, we want to build a home. We don't want to go and stay in a hotel or stay with family. Not that that's, but we want to
Right.
be, even if it's a small hut that we can have and say, this is ours.
This is
Our kids,
yours. Yeah.
and someday we can leave it for them. So I
Yeah.
appreciate.
So, well, first of all, yeah, Mo, thanks. I mean, for all the kind words, and I'm glad you found my channel. I mean, you're mentioning me in the same breath as Wole Maya, which is great because obviously he has a huge channel, over 800,000 subscribers. I'd love to get there someday, and I know I will. But yeah, so and all the other compliments too. I mean, to be honest with you, I think the number one piece of advice I can give anyone, whether you've lived here, which you had for a substantial amount of time, or not, is to just start off small, but just start. I think, people come here thinking they have to know exactly where they want to buy, what they want to do right away. I think the best thing to do is just to come back and see what the landscape is like now. When I first came in 2009 as an adult, I had a whole bunch of ideas that made no sense. I didn't follow through on most of what I thought I was going to do at that time. I was also a different person at the time, but in 2009, I was about 25 years old, right? And so at that time, I had a lot of different ideas about what I wanted to do. It wasn't until I came in 2017, 2018, 2019, where I started to develop more ideas. I came across a property that happened to actually be in the family name, happened to be in the family, so I was able to purchase that family. I was able to get my dual citizenship. Jose Cruz just asked that question. I was able to get my dual citizenship, so that did allow me to do more. But I would say the best thing to do is just come here. But now you're coming here with an intent and a purpose, right? And so I think when you come with intent, these things start to open up. As you meet more people here and you talk to more people, and obviously you already have family and people that you know here, as I did. In Sierra Leone specifically, I have family in Sierra Leone. But it wasn't until I actually started making friends and developing a network where other
Back
things started
home.
opening for me. Um, so I would say that's where I would start, right? Is just start by having conversations with people. And the other thing is too is I would never say you should feel like you're not doing enough. I would say that the first thing to do is get money circulating in the economy, just so that you can start doing something, right? So that means opening a bank account, sending money here, like wiring yourself money to your bank account locally, and just using that bank account and buying locally. Don't ship stuff. When you're in the country, and don't bring too much stuff, buy stuff while you're here. Because at that point, even if you're not making grand gestures, it's like if you're in your local neighborhood and you go to the soup kitchen and you give out a meal or two, right? You're not solving poverty, but you are doing what you can in the space that you have, right? And I realize that every little bit that you do is moving forward. And over time, the ideas begin to develop. So for me, that was one of the first things I did was open a bank account and started circulating money in the economy, right? So when I get paid by companies on the continent, I get paid in my bank account in Sierra Leone or now in Ghana,
Oh,
depending.
okay, okay.
Yeah, so I
See,
don't.
I didn't. I did. Our
Go ahead.
investments back home right now is every month. My
Okay.
wife and I send money back home to family, but I really don't. I never thought about opening up a bank account in Sierra Leone, but that's definitely a good idea. But I mean, we help family back home every month. We have a monthly allowance. I have, you will probably relate to this. I have
Of course.
my
Yeah.
kid. My dad has 11 kids.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have 10 brothers and sisters. Okay.
Sure.
So
Yep.
every month, my wife and I were blessed enough where we're in a position to be able to help family back home every month. Like we, send allowances for my brothers and sisters back home. But I've never opened an account back home. And I'm in the legal field. So one of
Sure.
the questions I have for you, which is, I intend to go back home, hopefully with this new variant with the COVID virus, hopefully I'll still be able to do so next year, is I want to start looking at opportunities of using my legal education, my legal career, my legal experience here in the US,
Mhm.
going back home to work for, like, national or multinational corporation, NGOs, that
Yep.
like going back home to say, okay, I have a legal degree here in the US. It's not a Commonwealth. Florida is not a Commonwealth. I'm licensed in Florida, but I'm not licensed in Commonwealth um, jurisdictions here in the US. How can I
Right.
use my education, my degree, my experience practicing law here for 10 years now or more, including a
Sure.
master's in law, to say, okay, if I want to go to Ghana is a Commonwealth country. If I want to go to Sierra Leone, how can I use that legal experience to say, let me work for national, like the Ghanaian governments, the Sierra Leonean governments, or multinational corporations, organizations who may need an in-house counsel,
Right.
or legal advice, who do business with the US where I'm licensed to practice. So to use that niche, to use that experience to say, okay, I have, so that's one thing. I don't know if you have any input in that, but again, when I
Yeah.
go home,
Yeah.
I definitely want to talk to members of the bar association there. And when I come to Ghana, I plan to go to Ghana next year too,
Yeah.
because I really love Ghana. I've never been there. I have so many, family members and friends who are like, you're missing out. Come to Ghana. So I want to know if you have any input in that, or anywhere you can, somebody you can send me
Yeah.
to, or organization or website that I can get more information to use my skills to help others, or, help my family.
Right. Well, I don't have any organizations off the top of my head. I mean, I can look into it, and just now that you have my email, we can email back and forth. But
Cool.
what I will say is you have a highly specialized skill, right? And so that makes you invaluable, right? So because there is aid coming from the U.S., there are multinational companies trying to do business in the U.S., right? And so that allows you to be able to come in with a high level skill set and be able to be paid for that skill, right? As a consultant. And so you have that added benefit. I mean, that's what happened for me. I have a 14-year career in advertising, and as the advertising industry is growing here in Ghana and soon to be growing in Sierra Leone, I have a highly specialized skill set. So that made it a little bit more easy for me to kind of transition into the role in advertising. Now, of course, I do want to move into venture capital, but in order to generate some income right away, I had to start with advertising, right? And
Yeah.
so that was something that I was able to do. And so I definitely think that that skill set is hugely important. And there are many NGOs in Sierra Leone. I think most of the expats living there are working for NGOs. Some of them end up leaving and working for like solar companies. I've talked to a few people who've done that, but most of the NGOs are like the biggest businesses there, and then the government too. I can say that there are people in high levels of government that had lived in the U.S. previously. President Bio has hired people. The guy who worked at Microsoft at one point in time, who runs like technology, or I can't think of what the department is off the top of my head. But there are definitely people who have highly specialized skill sets that are in various levels of the government locally in Sierra Leone. So, and then NGOs, of course, could use that as well, especially if they're homegrown or businesses that are international businesses operating in Sierra Leone but want to do some business in the US. So, I mean, without knowing too much about how they operate and their specific needs, I can tell you, I do know that that is necessary and needed, right? Just from conversations that I've heard. So I would for sure say that. But again, I think coming here knowing that that's the path you want to take, now you can come to Sierra Leone with purpose, right? So it's not just visiting family, but when you're out at events that you hear about, and you're talking to people and you're exchanging information, when you're telling people about this skill set and what you do, that's when these kinds of things start to play out. And then you find yourself in rooms with the people who can make those decisions, right? And so if it's 2 years from now when you're ready to move here, while you're working on building your house and you have something that's your own, you'll be able to transition seamlessly into some kind of a role. So I would say, think about it with an open mind in terms of the time frame in which something might become available, but also come here with that mindset that you're going to network and have your elevator pitch down, right? Attorney with a 14-year career. This is what I'm looking to do. Here's the type of clients that I've worked with. Here's what I specialize in, whatever that looks like. And then maybe do some research on some of the NGOs that are here, some of the government organizations and things that they're doing. I know that they've gotten some aid from the Biden administration. Even the Trump administration had given some funding to Sierra Leone at one point in time too. So I definitely think that you are well on your way to being able to find something pretty easily. If I'm being honest, it just might take a little bit of time as you get reacclimated with Sierra Leone as it is today and start to navigate your way through those professional conversations. But for sure, I definitely think that you can do that for sure. Sorry, Mo, I can't seem to hear you. It's a little faint. I think I can hear you now.
Yeah, sure, but it's alparistic.
Mo, I think there's a bit.
Can you hear me?
No, it's a little choppy.
Okay, can you? Can you hear me?
I think, Mo, it's a little choppy. Here, Mo, so why don't we go back? Why don't we go back?
Okay, cool. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let's go back to the chat. It's a little choppy.
Okay, take your sister.
Sorry, Mo, it's a bit choppy. Let's go back.
It's the
So let me get Mo back in the chat. So while we wait for Mo to get back on the chat, we can continue the conversation there, let me jump back into some of the questions. And sorry, Mo, I didn't want to have to cut you off, but I just want to make sure we get the best experience for everybody listening. And also, by the way, make sure, guys, make sure it wasn't on my end. Can you guys all hear me clearly? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. And if my sound is coming through for you, okay? Because I do know sometimes I have some challenges with my internet connection. So let me know if you guys can hear me. In the meantime, let me run through some of the questions that were coming up, because there were a couple questions that were coming up. So William asked, bro, why Ghana, not Sierra Leone? Or you commute between the two. So in terms of opportunities, I chose Ghana over Sierra Leone just because there were more opportunities for me in terms of my career and options. And so I decided to go to Ghana first. I do plan to go more and more back to Sierra Leone. I mean, I do go to Sierra Leone now. The plan is to be going once every month and a half or so. Because I am in the middle of building this house. So I do plan to do that while we're making progress on the house. So that'll definitely continue to happen. And so that's why I chose Sierra Leone. I also did a video about that. If you want to watch that, it's called Why I Chose Ghana over Sierra Leone. It's an interview that Ivy Prosper did with me. I put it on my channel. So you want to check that out. I go into more detail there. There was another question from Jose Cruz was asking, how do we connect with Sierra Leoneans? So if you're talking about connecting with Sierra Leoneans on the continent, you're likely going to have to be in Sierra Leone to do so. We do have a really great expat community that loves to communicate with each other, likes to help each other, make sure you have a soft landing when you move or visit. And so I would definitely say, come to Sierra Leone, go to the events and network. Everybody loves to help each other out and communicate with each other. So that would be a recommendation from me for sure. All right, so Carl asks, are you going to be vlogging your build in Sierra Leone? Me and my wife are building and we'll be trying to vlog some. Yeah, so absolutely, Carl. Yeah, so I will be vlogging my build. I actually have a bunch of old footage from when I first bought the property and all of that I still want to put up on my YouTube channel. I'll likely probably just do something where I'm talking to camera and then kind of put that footage into those discussions. But yeah, I have, I don't know, about an hour and a half worth of footage. So I'm going to break it up into different pieces. And then as I start putting that out, I'm going to catch up to where we are currently. And so, yes, I will definitely be vlogging that. Look out for that in the next couple of weeks because there will be more content about my build in Sierra Leone for sure. Let's see. Question is, how do you get to Sierra Leone from Ghana? Do you fly or drive? Sade asked that. So I fly. It's about a 3.5-hour flight. So I fly back and forth. I do not drive. That's a little bit too long of a drive for me. Edward on Instagram Live asked, are Black Americans accepted well as marriage partners there? I can speak for both. Well, I think I can speak for both Ghana and Sierra Leone. I think yes. The answer is just in general, yes. In probably for different reasons in each country. I think Ghana is just a very open country in terms of welcoming people from the outside. And so you do find that people are welcoming, and even from a dating perspective. And then in Sierra Leone, it's a little different, maybe not the same culture of being as welcoming, but you do find some people tend to like foreigners more. And so you do have some folks in Sierra Leone, some women or men, depending on what your interest is, who do marry from people outside of Sierra Leone. I think I would say the number one thing to do, regardless of whether it's Ghana or Sierra Leone, is indoctrinate yourself with the culture. I think one thing people do is they make the mistake of coming to someone else's country and try to Americanize it or try to, make it like the UK. And, the culture here is the culture here. So I would definitely say, indoctrinate yourself in the culture, get to know it. And, it's the world is flat, as they say. So people are very familiar with other cultures as well. But when it comes to meeting family, and getting acceptance into family, I think it's all going to be important to be supportive and understanding of the local culture for sure. Mo, let me try to bring you back on and see if the sound is better. If not, we'll just go back to the chat. But let me see. Let me see if we can make it work. Mo, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
The same technical difficulties are happening again. Yeah, so it sounds robot-like.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries, no worries. So here's what you can do. I think you just write your comments and questions in the chat, and I'll just bring them up and talk to them there.
Sounds good.
But Mo, thanks for joining on the live. And dealing with our technical difficulties. But we'll be talking on the chat. All right, cool. So that was Mo. Appreciated that. Mo and I kind of have opposite journeys, right? Like I moved back to the continent being a Sierra Leonean. He moved to the US. So that's actually a really interesting story. Glad we got to do that. Here's a question from Jose Cruz. Is education a need in Sierra Leone? I'm an educator. I would open a school or work with one. So there are international schools here. And so I've had friends and family teach at international schools. So for sure, there's always a need for teachers and educators. Absolutely. So whether that's here or in Ghana or anywhere else in West Africa, from what I understand, there's international schools everywhere. There are also local schools. But I think it's always easier to get into some of the international schools because they do tend to have children who are children of diplomats and stuff like that, and who are just more used to like kind of the international context. But absolutely, education is always important, and I would definitely recommend you continuing that field here. Let's see if there are more questions on the Instagram Live. I've been neglecting the Instagram not live for a little bit. Let's see what we got. A bunch of people joined different times. So Marish says that the rain is too much in Sierra Leone right now, speaking to when we were talking about rain. Okay, Gregory Hall asked, what's the level of Black consciousness in terms of white brainwash in Africa? Whew. That, my friend, is a very loaded question, but I like it. Now, I'm going to speak to this from my perspective as someone who was very interested in this over the last 4 or 5 years, living in the US and then moving to the continent. I will say that there's a little bit of that everywhere. And I would say brainwashed, whitewashed, just seeing European standard being the superior standard, put it that way. That would be the best way I would put it. And so whether that's European American or white American or European globally, there is a little bit of that no matter where you are, if that country was overtaken or colonized by a European country. So there is a little bit of that in Ghana, a little bit of that in Sierra Leone. What you find is from time to time, they tend to own businesses here, and they sometimes they get treated a little better at some places, sometimes. And so you notice that and you're just kind of like, oh, it's unfortunate. But I think really more than anything, you see the bleaching of skin and the use of wigs and things like that, which I think is really the European standard. And so, I think that that's something that I think that permeates all across Black culture, whether you're directly from the continent and you know what tribe you come from, or if you're a descendant of Africans living in the diaspora. I think it's an issue everywhere. And I know that the world is awakening and we're getting to a place now where we understand our value as Africans in the diaspora, or Africans on the continent. But for sure, Black consciousness is becoming a thing. It's a little different depending on where you are, because there are a lot of Africans who never really felt felt racism or really even have encountered that. So it's a different way of living and being. So there are some people that don't need to become conscious because they already are, right? They already know their value and their worth, because they know where they come from and they have never been a part of being necessarily a part of the slave trade, right? So you see some of that. But yeah, I mean, and then there's the other element to it too, where some of their culture, I guess you can say, specifically just their way of living, capitalism, it finds its way everywhere. And, it is the predominant way of living on this planet now. And so I think we've all adopted, the capitalism mentality, and, money is seen as kind of the number one measuring stick for someone's worth. And unfortunately, I think that is something that came from the Europeans. And so that is something we do see a little bit here. But I do think that there is an awakening, even amongst those who might have not seen it before. I'm trying to tread lightly without saying anything that'd be offensive to anyone who might be watching. So I hope I'm doing a good job of that. But no, I would say that, there's definitely a consciousness. And I think we're moving in the right direction, whether here on the continent or in the US. I'll leave it at that. Okay, so let's see, any other questions? Okay, Angel said you agree. Thanks, Angel. And Jose says, do you know your tribe? I do know my tribe. 2 tribes, technically. Well, technically, like multiple tribes, but let's just say 2. So, 3. So Mandingo tribe is 1. So my father's mother is from the Mandingo tribe, and my father's father is from the Mende tribe. And so I'm Mende, Mandingo on my dad's side. And then my mom's side is the Creole tribe. Now, the reason why I say there's many beyond the 3 and why that might sound confusing, even though I just named 3, is because the Creole tribe is really a tribe that is made up of freed slaves that were a number of different tribes that might have come from a number of different places. So the way I understand it, a lot of them came from Nova Scotia. So these were slaves or enslaved Africans that were brought to the Americas. They were in Nova Scotia, and at the time of the abolition of slavery, moved to Freetown, right? And so my mother's family, my mother's mother's family are from the Creole tribe. And so who knows where we're actually from? There's probably some European in there. There's definitely some European in there. There's probably a bunch of other tribes from other countries as well. I haven't done African ancestry, which I guess I have to do it just to know exactly what tribes are all in my DNA. But I know the 2 tribes on my dad's side. On my mom's side, all I know is Creole, which can be a bunch of different tribes. So hope that answers that question. I'm learning all of this over the last few years. Okay, so Mo asks, do you have any suggestions about investment possibilities, potentials in Sierra Leone and Ghana? So yes, I would say, in Sierra Leone, I actually have a guy who needs an investment. It's a fish business. I'd be happy to share it with you. He's looking for to help expand his business. I'm going to give him a piece of that. So Mo, email me and I'll send you the information. This guy, Francis, is a really sharp guy. He used to work at the ports. And then once the new administration took over, because that was a role that was a government role, they kind of fired everyone who was in those roles previously. But he was smart. He was stacking his money on the side. He started a business where he was going and buying fish from the fishermen, right? So go and buy fish from them. He had like a little, what do they call it? A coolman, the cooling containers, right? He would drive it in a car, meet up with the women who sell fish at the market and sell it to them. So it was like kind of buying wholesale, selling, I guess, more wholesale, and then they would sell retail, right? He went from that to like a bigger cooler in a truck. Then he has 15 coolers in a space right now within a year and a half. And he just bought a giant like shipping container cooler. And so he's looking to buy an extra generator and some other things. I actually went to look at it. He asked for my investment. I am actually planning to invest a bit. So you and I can talk about that separately, but that's definitely one. And then others, there are always companies like this in Sierra Leone and Ghana that might be a little smaller, where you can say, you know, I'd like to invest in you and maybe take a piece of your business or whatever, and or maybe just do it as a loan. But there are plenty, but it's going to have to be with you when you get on the ground and start meeting them. I know a couple of companies that could use a cash infusion, but they may not have like a business plan, or may not necessarily have all the business savvy, but they're generating revenue and they're making money. So we could talk about that separately. I could go through some individual examples with you. It's tough to do that here on the live because I'd like to like show you documents and walk you through what I know. But definitely, Mo, let's definitely take that offline. Let's see. There's some other questions. Mo, you said my mom is Mandingo tribe. Nice. Your dad is from Kissi tribe. Okay, cool. So we're Mandingo. Yeah. I'm glad you found my channel too, and I'm glad to inspire. Thank you. That's what I'm here to do. So I'm glad I'm achieving that goal. 420 Fellowship. I like the name. I am a fellow advocate of the cannabis industry. Approximately how many expatriates are in Ghana? That's a great question. And to be honest with you, the only way I would know that answer was to Google it. I don't know, but there are a lot. I mean, expatriates really, even though the name infers that they were patriots before and they're coming back, it actually means that they're not patriots, which really in the US is what we would call immigrants, or what Americans call immigrants and what Europeans call immigrants. And so there are a lot of people here from other nationalities, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Lebanese, a lot of Europeans, a lot of Black Americans. There are a lot of people from a lot of different places, and there are places that you can go where you see and hear a lot of them. Republic Bar. There's this restaurant, I can't remember its name, it's escaping me right now, but I remember going there and thinking, it doesn't even feel like I'm in West Africa. Like I feel like I'm in Europe somewhere. The place was very nice, but beyond that, the people, it's mostly like British accents I'm hearing, or Australian accents, or Swedish, or whatever. So you definitely find a lot of expats here, and they frequent certain spots. You'll tend to notice them there. So yeah, for sure, I see that, for sure. So we got another question from Instagram Live, and this is a great discussion. The last few years, global warming, this is from T. Sukari Finley, who says, this is a great discussion. The last few years, global warming or climate change has affected climate around the world. What's your view? Yeah, I mean, if you want to get into the climate change discussion, I would say, 99% of scientists, I think, agree that we are dealing with a climate change issue. I think some of them disagree in terms of how much is it human caused, right? But I think you're noticing it even here on the continent, places that, you're seeing mudslides in places that may not have had them before. You're seeing areas of water that's drying up or doesn't have water that might have had water previously. Obviously me having lived in the US, it's something, and I lived in very progressive, liberal, left-leaning states where these things came up a lot in discussion. So for sure it's happening. I mean, I think that there's probably a little bit of a dispute on how much it's human engineered and how much is just cyclical. I think that's probably the biggest argument right now. Some people deny it altogether. I'm not a climate denier. I do believe that the climate is being affected and changed, and I do believe that humans have a big element or a big part to do with it. I think the biggest issue is fossil fuels. One of the things I do see as a challenge on the continent is because on the continent, what I've seen in Sierra Leone especially is that they're very, they have a lot of ingenuity, and they tend to fix old cars with 200,000 miles, 300,000 miles, which would end up in a junkyard in the US, but these are cars that are running on the road. But a lot of these are running on diesel fuel, and like, you'll be driving behind one, you see all the black smoke coming out of it. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely having an effect on the environment around us. And unfortunately, pollution and littering is just a thing. And I've seen a lot of that. Unfortunately, you see a lot of that in Sierra Leone now too. And it's really, really sad to see. But yeah, I mean, climate change for sure is an issue. And Sukari Finley also says there's a lot of Jamaicans in Ghana. So that's another group of expats that you see. Another question from iTuber 012. Does Sierra Leone limit you to only 2 passports, or could you have more than 2? Same with Ghana. I know they allow dual citizenship, but what about more than 2? I'm curious if you could have all 3. So, well, each country is different for how they allow you to become a citizen, right? So I haven't even looked into how to become a citizen in Ghana. I do have a non-citizen ID, and I do have a resident permit. So technically I am a resident of Ghana, a citizen of Sierra Leone, and a citizen of the United States. Now, I was able to do that because I was born in the US, and in Sierra Leone, the Constitution is as such that allows you that if your parents are born in Sierra Leone, you can apply for citizenship, which I did in 2018, early 2019. But that is a good question. I don't know if I was to attempt it, could I become a Ghanaian citizen? I think to become a citizen, there's a process, and I don't know if they allow you to be a citizen in 3 countries. I've never heard of triple citizenship. I've only ever heard of dual citizenship. And so that might be for a reason, but I don't know. But then again, one of my favorite rappers is Jay-Z, and he said in the song, I got 5 passports, I'm never going to jail. I don't know if that's really true. That might have been just because it sounds cool to say. So I don't know if you can have citizenship in every country. There might be certain countries that allow you to, that offer citizenship. I heard that there were countries in Europe during the pandemic that were offering citizenship if you were to move there. So I would Google it. That's another thing. I did try to answer your question, but to be honest with you, I'd have to Google it to know the answer to that question. So I don't know the answer, to be honest. But I don't even feel like I would need to do it, except if it was going to hinder me from buying land. Then I would see if I had to do that. But in general, they usually let you do it if you have a business. That's how you kind of get around it. So like with Sierra Leone, from what I understand, if you have a business, you've opened up a business there, if you found a way to do that, and there's some ways that you can do that you can buy land. But yeah, I think that that's something that's worth looking into, and maybe I'll have an answer for you next time I do a live. I'll check that out and I'll let you know. Good question. Shoot, there are so many questions. Wow. Okay. Carl Hill, a lot of liberated slaves came from Nigeria. Why a lot of Creole and Nigerian names? A lot of Creole have Nigerian names. That is true. And also our Creole language sounds a lot like Pidgin in Nigeria, right? So yeah, that's definitely true. I have a cousin named Ade Tokombo. That Ade name is a very Nigerian name for sure. So yeah. So Mo, I will definitely get in touch with you though. And then Carl says Yoruba specifically. Okay. 410 Friendly says, can I get the email as well? I'd like to invest in the continent as well. Okay, sure. So 420 Fellowship, here's what you can do. Go to the About Me page on my YouTube channel and email that email there. And then I'll have your email, and then we can, it's just contact@authenticafrican.com. So just email contact@authenticafrican.com. And you know what, let me just put it in the chat. It's for serious investors only, okay? Let me put that out there. Okay. Mo, I got you. I'll take a look at your email for sure, and I'll stay in touch. So I don't even want to mess your name up. Is it Inukwi? Inukwi? I think it's Inukwi from Facebook. I really want to build a skating rink in Sierra Leone. Would it be accepted there? That is an interesting idea, and a question. What I always say to people about when you have an idea for a business in another country is to visit it first and do your market research first. To be honest, I don't know. I have not seen anybody roller skate at all while I was in Sierra Leone, but I also know that there probably isn't a lot of roller skates available. So it could potentially be big. I have a friend who does a paint and sip. In the US, that's become a really popular thing for date nights, and even amongst the Black community, there's these paint and sips that people do. And I have a friend who, she was living in Sierra Leone. She had been in Sierra Leone for about 13 years though. And she decided she wanted to do this paint and sip idea. And now she does them pretty frequently, and it seems to be working really well. So, but I would definitely say, do research first, come to Sierra Leone first and see if there's a market for it. It's hard to say because I've never done it. So you want to do your market research, talk to people on the continent and find out from them if they would want to see a skating rink. Let me ask some of the Sierra Leoneans. I see Marish on. Marish, do you think people want to go skating in Sierra Leone? You're on here. Maybe you can lend your thoughts to that. Jose says, awesome, Mende, my mom's side, Igbo on my dad. Okay, so you're Mende on your mom's side, Igbo on your dad. So is your real name Jose Cruz then? Or is that like your YouTube name? And I'm really interested to hear how you got the name Jose Cruz with your mom being Mende and your dad being Igbo. That would be really interesting to hear. Okay. 420 Fellowship podcasts and videos. We're advocates. I'll definitely check it out. We need to bring it international. That's definitely something we need to do. So we should definitely talk. Okay. Pro Woman J asks, fluent in any Sierra Leonean languages? How culturally Sierra Leonean do you feel? Great 2 questions. The first question is, am I fluent in any Sierra Leonean languages? I speak Creole. Am I fluent? No. Especially if you ask any of the Sierra Leoneans that I know, I'm not fluent. I speak it. I speak to the best of my ability, and I try really hard. But I think they would tell you, no, I'm not fluent. And that's the only one that I understand fully and that I speak anything of. I really have tried to learn Mende. That's the language of my father and his father's family. And I am having a hard time picking up Mende. So I don't speak Mende, but I'm working on it. Shout out to Blooming from South Africa on IG Live. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so the other question from Pro Women J is, how culturally Sierra Leonean do you feel? How culturally Sierra Leonean do I feel? I mean, in a lot of ways I feel connected to the culture, but I'm vegan, which is definitely not culturally Sierra Leonean. Being vegan is just not a thing. So that's one thing. I don't like fufu, which is another thing. But I do eat granite soup almost every day. And so in terms of my cuisine and in terms of how I feel connected to the culture, for sure. But then again, each tribe has its own culture. So there's a little bit, I would say I'm like 50% there. I'm still Americanized. I have an American accent. I was still born and raised in another country. But I think I would have to ask some of my Sierra Leonean counterparts what they would say. I would say I'm more culturally Sierra Leonean than most Americans that I know who happen to be Sierra Leonean. But I think I got a long way to go to really get indoctrinated and really be in the culture like I need to be. I want to be able to speak Creole in a way that people don't say I'm a JC. When I speak Creole, people know you're not JC, which means just come, which means from outside Sierra Leone. So I want to get to a place where I speak it in a way that people can't even tell. Mo says, I don't want to start a fight or a debate, but have you had fufu and jollof rice in Ghana and Sierra Leone? Which is better, Ghana or Sierra Leone? You don't want to start a debate, but you asked that question? Mo. Well, first of all, I got a rep for Sierra Leone, so I'm going to say it. And I always say it. I got a video coming out in 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks that will say it. And I've said it on 3 videos already. I believe that Sierra Leone jollof is better than Ghanaian jollof. Yes, you can hate me, you can be mad, I don't care. That's what I believe. Now, is that because I'm biased because I'm Sierra Leonean? Maybe, maybe. But a Ghanaian once told me that he thought Sierra Leone jollof was better than Ghanaian jollof. Now, he also married a Sierra Leonean, so maybe that's with that caveat. But I do really like Ghanaian jollof too, if it's made well, right? Like there are a couple restaurants that I order jollof from. I like the jollof rice here too. Don't get me wrong. I really do like it. It's good. I just like Sierra Leone jollof better. Now, as it pertains to fufu, I can't tell you because I haven't had fufu here. I don't like fufu. Sorry, don't kill me. I don't like fufu. And I haven't had fufu for a long time. I had fufu in Sierra Leone probably back in like 2009 was the last time I had it in Sierra Leone. And in the US, probably 2014 or 13. It's been a long time. I really don't like fufu, so I don't eat it. So I'm probably the last person to ask on the fufu question. But with jollof rice, I can say with conviction, Sierra Leone has better jollof. Argue amongst yourselves, people, but I already know the answer to that question. All right, cool. So let's see here. Many people have more than 2 passports, usually business folks, and it's all perfectly legal, but you were just curious. Okay, got it. Well, thank you for answering that because I didn't know. Oh, okay. You're Mende as well. Nice, nice, nice. We got some Mende in the house. Regarding business in Sierra Leone, I tried to register, but the paperwork seems to be that you have to have more than 1 director. Why is that? I want to be the sole owner of my business and use it to buy land. Excuse me. I don't know if that is, I don't know if you're a dual citizen, but that wasn't the case for me. I'm the sole director and the only director on my business. And I had no issue opening a business in Sierra Leone. So you might have to tell me a little bit more detail there, but for me, I was able to open a business, no issues. So I'm not really sure why that was, but yeah, maybe you can send me another message and let me know if it's because you're not a Sierra Leonean or you don't have Sierra Leonean citizenship. But I did it after I got my dual citizenship. Then I signed up for the business, so maybe that's what made it easier for me. But yeah, I have no issues there. 420 Fellowship, you're vegan too. Fellow vegans, love it. Mo. Yeah, I don't like fufu. Sorry, Mo. Yeah, so Marish is a Sierra Leonean living in Sierra Leone, living in Freetown. And she says about the roller skating rink, she says it's a good business idea, but visit Sierra Leone first. So like I said, I think, I can't remember who came up with the idea for the roller skating rink. But yeah, definitely go, for sure, go to Sierra Leone and do your market research. Blooming says, hopefully no Nigerians are watching over this jollof talk. Well, the question was between Ghana and Sierra Leone. But I know Nigerians can get very loud about the Ghanaian. I have some Nigerian friends here, and it's a whole thing. And even back in the U.S., my Nigerian friends seem to think they have the best jollof. I guess it's debatable. I'm not going to debate it. I already know what I think. So it is what it is. All right, Mo says, you really don't like fufu? Really? Come on, man. I don't like it. I don't like the texture. I don't like the flavor. I just don't. If I was to eat it with granat soup, maybe, because even the stew they usually put with fufu, I don't like. So, that's just it. For me, it has to go. I don't like the texture or the flavor. JC equals just come, just arrived. Yes, that's what they tell me I sound like when I speak Creole. Ghanaian friends who have had the debate for years on, okay. Miss P says, I don't like fufu either. We're friends from Ghana and he used to bring it to my house. Yeah, not everybody likes it. Okay, so Jose Cruz said, African ancestry is how I found out my mom is African American and my dad is Dominican. That's how you got the name Jose Cruz. And of course, Dominicans are Africans, as you know, you're Afro-Latina or Afro-Latinx, I guess is what they say now. Is that more of the politically correct way to say it? Correct me if I'm wrong, Jose, let me know. But yes, that's dope. So What I will say, and this is not a commercial for African Ancestry, but what I like about what they do is African Ancestry tells you your tribe, not your country, because the country demarcations were made by Europeans. The tribe is the tribe that was long before the Europeans came. And so, or they were kingdoms, I guess, before the Europeans came. And so, yeah, I mean, doing your African Ancestry will tell you what tribe you're from. And I think that that's dope. So, Jose, I love that. I love that you're following up on the African side of your ancestry. That's really dope. And following this channel and watching the live, I really appreciate it. Yeah, man, shout out to you. And all right, guys. So we have now been on for, what does it look like? An hour and, what are we looking at? An hour and, I can't even see how long we've been on. An hour and 35 minutes. I'm gonna leave it open to the last second questions before I call it a night on this live. Felicia on Instagram Live says, I cannot wait to get to Ghana. You definitely need to get here. Blooming says, LOL from me with fufu, the struggle is not chewing, but the swallowing part. Felicia says, you've been watching my vlog. Thank you, appreciate you following along. Really love that people have been following along and watching all along. I really appreciate it. 3 videos a week this time. As of 3 weeks ago, it'll be 3 videos a week moving forward. So there's gonna be this live on Monday. There was a little bit more attendance on this live than when I was having it on Tuesday. So I think it makes sense to keep the live on Mondays. So I'm definitely gonna keep it on Mondays. At this time, maybe move it a little earlier, but I think this time is probably the best time for most of my subscribers and followers. So I'm gonna keep the live on Mondays. Then on Wednesdays, I will likely be doing my weekly vlog update about what this last week has been like. There's always some updates to give you, and I got some interesting updates this week about my hot water situation. That's a whole nother thing. And the house situation, So a couple of days from now, you'll get that. I'm also changing the time that I'm posting my videos. So I used to post my videos in the early morning, 9 a.m. GMT. I'm now gonna be posting them at 4 or 5 p.m. GMT. And so you'll be able to see them a little earlier in the day. So on your lunch break, if you guys are in the US, most of my subscribers are in the US, and it'll be close to the end of the day for all you West Africans that follow me. And then on Saturday, that'll be more of like my adventures around, Sierra Leone or around a specific topic. So maybe it's going to be around dating or around, my visits to the many different cultural sites. In Sierra Leone, I went to the chimpanzee rescue. I went to the National Museum in Sierra Leone. I went to Big Market, filmed that. I'm going to do 10 things I love about Sierra Leone, 10 things I love about Ghana, 10 things I hate about Sierra Leone, 10 things I hate about Ghana. By the way, with just a spoiler alert for what I do, the 10 things I hate about Ghana or 10 things I hate about Sierra Leone, it's going to be things that I hate, but I have solutions for those things, and solutions that I currently do or solutions that I have that I think we can all do. So just know that I'm never going to be trashing any one of these countries, because I do want people to come visit, but I also do want to warn you about things that you need to know and things you need to prepare yourself for, and make sure that you don't have some of the pitfalls that I did, because I didn't know what I was doing when I first came to visit. So with that, let me get to some more of these questions. There's a few more questions coming through. So question is, how are you getting your mail? Do you pick it up from somewhere? Yeah, it's a great question. So how am I getting my mail? I'm not. So my mail in the US goes to my old apartment in New York. What I am gonna have them do is forward that to Florida. My mother lives in Florida and she ships stuff to Sierra Leone very often. So that is how I'm gonna get my mail, is through its shipping. I know other people do DHL and other things to get stuff here. I don't really know those processes. And since I don't really have any pressing mail too often, what I'll do is just have it shipped to New York and forwarded down to Florida, and then it'll just be shipped out to me, or shipped directly from New York to me through a shipper in a container, and that's how it'll come. T. Sukari says, Vegan, yes. Do you like dumplings? It's like fufu. It depends on the flavor of what you eat. Yeah, I like dumplings. I don't think it is all like fufu though. I would say dumplings are very different. But when I'm in Sierra Leone, I do eat vegetable dumplings. I prefer steamed dumplings, but most of the time they're fried dumplings in Sierra Leone. But I definitely like dumplings. Shout out to dumplings and shout out to all the vegans out there. Okay. Mo Roberts says, thanks for what I do. Thank you, man. Thank you for watching. Another question Mo had was, do you miss anything about your life in the US? What part of your life in the US will you bring to Ghana? Do I miss anything about my life in the US? Yes, I do. Convenience and convenience stores, right? In the US, you can get almost anything you want within 48 to 72 hours. Almost anything. Ring light, any kind of hair products, any kind of beard oils, right? All the kinds of things that I need that are specific to me, that are easily accessible. So I do miss the convenience of those kinds of things. I miss my friends. I built a really big network in New York and one in LA, and then some other people around the country as well. And so I do miss my group of friends. So what part of my life am I going to bring to Ghana? I already brought some of my friends, and I'm bringing more. So friends for sure. Outside of that, I really kind of left a lot of stuff in the US behind, and I'm just indoctrinating myself in the culture and society here. Beyond the fact that I added hot water heaters to my showers, because I can't take cold showers. It's just not for me. It's not for me. That's one thing I wasn't ready to give up. So, I guess my style of dress too, my clothes, I brought that with me too. So yeah, I guess those are the things that I brought with me. But I don't really miss a lot, because for me, it was never about where I was. It was about who I was with. You know what I mean? And so like for my birthdays, now I celebrate my birthdays in Sierra Leone because I have a crew in Sierra Leone. And that's one of my good friendship groups there. So that's always amazing. I've celebrated 2 birthdays. I celebrated my 35th and 37th. Yes, I said my 37th birthday, which I had this year. Celebrated that in Sierra Leone, and it was an amazing time. I had a really good time with some really good friends. And so for me, it's about who I'm with, not where I am. And so those are the things that I miss. It's mostly the people. Carl asked, how is the internet in Sierra Leone? What's the speed should I expect, or what are the speeds to expect? It is slower than the US. Download speed can be about the same. I think however many megabytes per second download speed is okay. It's the upload speed that's the challenge. So I am a vlogger and a YouTube content creator. And so that means I have to upload at least 2 videos per week to YouTube. And as part of that process, I have to sit and wait for it to upload. And so I also work with editors that are in like the Ukraine or somewhere, and to upload it to them, to then edit it, then to download it, then to upload it back to YouTube is a process. And so I just have to start it when I'm going to be sitting in front of my computer for an hour and a half working. It's just always happening in the background. It usually takes about an hour and a half to upload a 20-minute video. It just is what it is. It's just part of everyday life here. It's just what I had to get used to. So something that might take 10 minutes in the US takes about an hour and a half for at least the internet service providers that I have had and that I have been using. Now, my home service here in Ghana, I'm planning to switch it. We'll see if the upload speed is faster on MTN versus Vodafone. Vodafone from my phone and from my home has been what I've been using, and that takes an hour and a half for a 20-minute video. Let's see when I move to MTN if the upload speeds are faster. But just for context, in my particular area, it's not everywhere in Accra or everywhere in Ghana, but in my particular area, the upload speed, this is getting a little nerdy, but it is what it is. The upload speed, the megabytes per second, is 2 or to 5, right? In most of the Western world, it's at least 15. So you could see how it could take more than 3 times as long to upload if it's 15 to 20 megabytes per second upload speed somewhere in the US or elsewhere, or even higher, right? Sometimes it's higher than that. Whereas here, high-speed internet, for me at least, is between 2 and 5 megabytes per second. All right, so that's the internet speed. So it's just an adjustment. You got to deal with it. I don't know what this is in reference to because I don't know the Bible that well, but Genesis, yeah. So you're gonna have to tell us what that means. So iTuber 012 said, when I fill out the registration paperwork, it says fill in the percent ownership if there are only 2 boxes. Oh, I just did 100% ownership for one, and I didn't fill out the other box. So that's the answer to that question. Just do 100% ownership for one person. That's what I did, and it went through perfectly. So iTuber, that is the hack on that one. I'm just African taken to many lands. Okay, I love it. I love it. Thanks, Jose. I like that. Missing the beginning. Summary of the 7 months in journey. Okay. So Pro Woman J, I just basically said that I was saying, do I regret moving here after being here 7 months? And the answer was no. I love it. I'll never change it for the world. It's the best decision I've ever made. Just did the update on where I am with the house right now in Sierra Leone. And I guess the other thing I can mention is my career. So it's definitely been an experience. It's been a slow start. When I first came to Ghana, I assumed that getting my job here, I would just be able to just move over quickly. Like, yeah, I've done advertising for 14 years in the US. I can come here and do advertising too. It's no big deal. But it took me a few months, more than expected, to really get a hold of the local culture, and also the way things are done, and how consumers respond to things, right? Like, even though we're a global people now, and people are aware of what's happening in the West, and some people are aware of what's happening in Africa and Asia, and there are certain things like music that kind of work their way across the spectrum. There are still different behaviors by different people in different regions. And so, for me, as a marketer in the US, I kind of know how different people of different ethnicities or different regions react to different kinds of advertisements, right? Or, I can do some market research and get to that pretty quickly. I can put myself in the minds of those people. In Ghana, it's a little different because I haven't lived in Ghana for a very long time. And so I'm getting to know Ghanaians, understand their shopping habits and things like that. And so in my job, as a person who works with advertisers, that was something that I had to learn. And so I had to humble myself a little bit because even though I had a 14-year career and certain things came naturally and easily to me, it doesn't mean that I know everything. And I definitely had to humble myself a little bit and sit back and learn once I got here. So it's been slow moving at my job. I haven't had the big wins that I expected to have. When I first started here, I thought I was going to be signing up clients left and right, and we're going to be making all kinds of money for this company and all that kind of stuff. And it really hasn't moved at the speed in which I thought it would. But it's all been a learning experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world, for sure. So that's actually some of the stuff I didn't even mention before, but I would say that's my summary of the last 7 months. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Okay, that was about the registration. Okay. Victor Mark says, why is there a $150 COVID test to come to Ghana? Is it also try that there is about 3,000 CDs to leave Ghana? Please clarify. Okay. So, COVID tests. From what I understand, it costs about $7 to administer a COVID test. $10, I think, is what somebody told me. We take into consideration all the costs, mask buying, the doctors, the people employed, all of that. My understanding is it costs about $10 to administer a COVID test. And now, I don't know if that includes all of those elements, but from what I understand, it's $10. If you are coming to Ghana, you have to pay whatever the fee is. I guess it's $150 now. I didn't know that. So you do have to pay that fee to visit. I mean, what I said before about being in a world that's, based on the European standard of capitalism, it's capitalism and a crazy scheme to make money. These countries have decided to mark up the price of tests by a lot. And so that's leading to all kinds of theories about the nefarious intent behind COVID vaccines and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but there's a lot of people who believe those kinds of things because you have things like, if it costs this little to administer, why are you charging that much to take it? I don't know. I just pay it and get the test. And, every time I travel, that's how I have to think about it. I have to pay for my flight in and out of Sierra Leone, but I also have to pay for my COVID test to leave Ghana and go to Sierra Leone. I also have to pay for a COVID test when I get to Sierra Leone. Same thing when I come back to Ghana. So my flight back, I have to pay to take a COVID test in Sierra Leone, and then I have to pay to take a COVID test when I land back in Ghana again. So it's 4 tests for a round trip flight, right? And so I just have to pay. So I'm actually baking that into my cost of my flight. It sucks, but as of right now, it is what it is. That's just that's the cost of wanting to do this. No, it is not 3,000 CDs to leave Ghana. It was, the last time I did it was 700 CDs for the 12-hour test results. So I did my test the last time I left to go to Sierra Leone. I did it the day before my flight, and it was 12-hour results. I did my test at like 8 a.m., came back at 8 p.m. and got my results. So I don't think it's 3,000 CDs. It's 700 CDs as far as I know, to take your test to leave. So that's how I understand it to be. All right. Searching to make contact with Sierra Leoneans. I would say definitely visit Sierra Leone, and that'll help to make more contact. We're very big on welcoming people in, especially like the expat or the repat community, because we really want to see Sierra Leone get to the place where it deserves to be. I don't know if people know this, but not the first ever college, because technically I think most people say the first ever college was in Mali with Mansa Musa, ever. But the first college that Westerners were involved in was in Sierra Leone. So a lot of Nigerians, Ghanaians, Senegalese used to go to Sierra Leone to go to college. It's crazy that Sierra Leone has fallen so far behind. And so what we want to do is bring other people back to kind of get us back to our rightful place on the world stage, and at least on the West African stage, right? And so when you come to Sierra Leone, we'll definitely make sure we, go to some of the events. I would go either in December, because there are plenty of people in the country and around to meet, or go around April, the end of April, the 26th of April, if I'm not mistaken, is the anniversary of Sierra Leone's independence. So if you go around those times, you'll definitely be able to meet many Sierra Leoneans. And you might catch me out somewhere. I did run into a guy who recognized me from YouTube, which was really cool. So yeah, I mean, that's something I think that is definitely helpful, is just going to Sierra Leone and meeting people in person. It's a lot harder to do it online. It's just very difficult. When people see you in person and see that you're serious, it really helps a lot. Okay, so Brown Coat Blue said, I just left Ghana a few days ago. The COVID test to leave back to the US was, the US cost was $40. And then Ashanti Queen is someone who you should watch, who will show you how to do this. Okay, so that's somebody's page I haven't checked out yet, or a channel I haven't checked out yet, but I'll have to check it out. If they use the outrageous COVID fees to build infrastructure, I'm all for it. I know they charge a lower fee to ECOWAS passport holders. Oh, right. Yes, that is true. So, yeah, that is true. I have an ECOWAS passport. I always forget that because I have an ECOWAS passport, I now have ECOWAS, by the way, for those who don't know. It's an acronym, Economic Community of West African States. I think there's 22 nation states that are a part of it. And it allows you to travel freely between each of these countries. And there are benefits like that. So yeah, that's one of the benefits, is that I do pay a little less for my COVID test. I always give my ECOWAS passport. When I'm around here or in Sierra Leone, I use the Sierra Leone passport. If I'm going somewhere like Europe or in the US, I use my US passport. So there's a trick. All right, cool. Let's see. What is the cost of travel to Sierra Leone to Ghana round trip? Great question. I was just looking at tickets. Sometimes it's $380, sometimes it's $500, and sometimes it's high as $700. It depends on when you buy your ticket and when you plan to travel. If you're buying a month and a half out, it could be about $380 or something like that for a round trip. If you're buying sooner or like with less time, then the price goes up. Going to Sierra Leone, a big part of the challenges there is the taxes. A lot of times the taxes are almost as much as the flight itself. Sierra Leone taxes for your flights are crazy. So I've heard of people flying into Guinea and driving from Guinea to Freetown. If you're not familiar with it, I wouldn't recommend it for just anybody, but I've heard people doing it. All right, I'm gonna take a couple more questions because now we're almost at 2 hours. This has been a really good live and a really engaged audience. You guys have been on here for a while. We're at 1 hour and 55 minutes. Okay, so Mo Roberts says, also, what is the current exchange rate for Ghanaian cedis to Sierra Leone leones? I honestly don't know. When I leave, so what I do is I keep my money separate. I always keep a little bit of leones on me, about 1 million leones on me. So when I land in Sierra Leone, I have leones right away to just use. And the same thing when I'm in Sierra Leone, I keep a couple hundred Ghana cedis on me so that when I get back to Ghana, I can just do whatever I need really quickly if I need to, but in Ghana, you can use cards more often, so you don't need cash as much. But I don't know the exchange rate because I tend to keep cash for either one wherever I'm traveling or when I'm planning to travel to each one. That's a good question though. I'm sure you can Google it. I'm sure on Google you can see the exchange rate. There's an exchange rate calculator. They tend to be slightly off, but it's like right in line. You want to help build it up? Great. Yes, please help build. Let's help build Sierra Leone together for sure. So Mo says, I will help you contact Sierra Leoneans based on your interest. There you go. Mo is going to help you. So I like that. You guys keep in touch. I love that the chat is talking to each other and working to communicate and network with each other. This is awesome. This is the kind of thing I want to happen. So I'm glad you guys are doing it. Keep it up. So Victor says, how big is the tech industry in Ghana? Can we bring our business to Ghana? What is the process of creating a tech business in Ghana? Sorry about the questions. No. I love the questions. Don't apologize. Keep bringing the questions. How big is the tech industry in Ghana? So it is pretty big and growing. I know a guy who created a company here, and now, of course, the name is escaping me. Herman had oh my God, I can't remember. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of his company. Anyway, there are homegrown companies here. There are other tech companies that have come here, but there is a startup community. I was on a Zoom series where they were doing pitch competitions. This company called Mest, they're an incubator here in Ghana, and they incubate companies right in Ghana. And they did a pitch competition all around the continent, 9 different countries, 10 companies each country, or maybe it was 10 countries, 9 companies each, whatever. It's 90 or so companies. And what they did was they did these pitch competitions, and I got to see the 9 or 10 in Ghana, and I was very impressed by at least 3 of them, and just impressed. There was like very impressive ones and then impressive ones that I've seen other places, but other ones that I haven't seen anywhere. Tech industry is going. There's tech hubs here, there's accelerators, there's incubators here and in Nigeria, in terms of West Africa, and in Dakar, Senegal. It seems like those are the places where they're kind of like startup hubs. I know Accra is really trying to be the startup hub of West Africa. So there's definitely a startup hub here. So it's a pretty big industry. Is it like Silicon Valley? No. It'd be more like you see these up and coming cities across the US that are like near universities. It's kind of like that, where like University of Kentucky or Carnegie Mellon, you see like startups popping up around these universities where college graduates get together and start building these companies together. So in Ghana, you're starting to see a startup community for sure. Very smart, capable, and people with ingenuity here. So there's really some interesting stuff here. I'm an advisor I'm working with MEST. I'm working with MEST as an advisor, working with Founders Institute as a mentor, and now Google for Startups, which I really love, as a mentor. The Google for Startups, the mentor, most of the startups are in Nigeria, but with MEST and with Founders Institute, they're here in Ghana. And yeah, there are some pretty impressive companies. I've seen, a cotton company, someone who's trying to build sustainable cotton to not mess with the environment. Somebody had mentioned climate change earlier, but also put the sex workers on the street to work and give them a skill, because obviously they can't be sex workers forever, right? But also they can do something that gets them off the streets, a little less dangerous for them, and it's something, well, it's actually not dangerous at all, and it allows them to learn a different skill and apply the skills so they can get out of that work if they so choose. And so, I met a company like that. I met a fashion brand, which, by the way, we're going to be doing he's going to do like a shirt for me. I'm going to film all of that, going to interview him, show it all to you guys. I think you guys will love it. Really, really cool stuff. So there's a lot of interesting businesses, and there are definitely some interesting tech businesses too. But all of these businesses have a technology element to them because, of course, we're in the age of internet, so you have to. So what is the process of creating a tech business in Ghana? I don't know the answer to that, to be honest, because I haven't started a business here in Ghana. But I will say that there is a lot of support for tech businesses here. Like I said, there's all the incubators that I mentioned and accelerators. And so I would say it just makes sense to come to Ghana. And if you are already in Ghana, I would look at MEST, Founders Institute, and there's a few other ones. But like if you just Google incubators and accelerators in Ghana, that's somewhere where you can start. Sometimes it costs a little money to get into those programs, but at the end of it, you get to pitch your company to potential investors. Sometimes they infuse you with cash, they give you cash to help scale your business. So there's definitely a big startup ecosystem for sure. And I would definitely recommend bringing your startup ideas here to Ghana and, of course, expanding to Sierra Leone as well. Keeping in mind that the tech savvy people are tech savvy to a degree, right? Most people know WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And then, and that's mostly people that are millennials, Gen Z. That's who the majority of the people who use technology companies are. So you want to keep that in mind. I guess that's the same in the US too, or elsewhere, but I just wanted to mention that. Okay. iTuber, you emailed me, great. I will take a look and we'll be in touch. For currency rate, there's the XE app or website. It's very accurate. There you go, Cedric. Thank you for that. See, I love how our people in the chat are helping each other out. Okay. iTuber says, regarding the different currencies, ECOWAS is set to launch one single currency called the ECHO by 2027. It's supposed to launch this year, but COVID and France messed it up. Okay. That'll be interesting if there's actual echo. I'll have to then get some echoes. But that would be interesting if that works, where you could just use it anywhere. I wonder how they'll I wonder how it'll work. Because that each country's economy is very different. The GDP is different, right? So how do you get echoes in certain countries and use them in other ones? That'd be an interesting experiment to see once it's time. So we'll see. Okay, iTuber said, probably my last question. Is it possible for me to open a bank account in Sierra Leone from abroad? I don't think so. Those kinds of things are just hard to do at banks, because when you think about just think about a bank in the US, how slow their computers can be sometimes, right? So just imagine in Sierra Leone, you know what I mean? So I did it from Sierra Leone, and I do most of my stuff with the bank in Sierra Leone in person. So I would definitely recommend being in Sierra Leone to open a bank account. It might be tough to do it from elsewhere. But maybe look into it. Look at some of the banks in Sierra Leone and see if they offer opening of accounts from abroad. So EcoBank is one. UBA, I hear a lot of good things about UBA. I'm planning to bank with UBA as well. So UBA is another one. Standard Chartered Bank is another bank in Sierra Leone and in Ghana. What else? There's a few other banks, but I would try some of those for sure. The young Sierra Leonean says, couche. See my accent, my very American JC accent. Yes, Kushel. But yeah, so all right, we are now officially at 2 hours and 4 minutes. I want to thank you all for joining. Okay, I want to thank you all for joining. It's been great. I want to, I appreciate you all being here. There were a couple people that requested to go live on Instagram, and I didn't notice it. My bad, guys. I'm sorry that I did not go live with you all. Okay, Mo asked the question. How are the ATMs in Sierra Leone, if any? There are plenty ATMs in Sierra Leone. So before we go, let me answer this question. There are ATMs everywhere. Here is the thing. You can only take out $40 or 400,000 leones at a time. So if you need to take out $700, do the math, right? How many times are you going to have to do it? And most of the ATMs don't keep your card in and ask you, do you want to do another transaction? Or do you want to do another one? What they'll do is they'll spit your card back out to you so that you put it back in so you get charged another fee, right? So the banks got to charge those fees. So $40 at a time, it's annoying. That is one of my biggest challenges, and that's on my 10 things I hate about Sierra Leone list. But I got some ways around it, and I'll definitely tell you guys on the video. Ms. Bo Roberts says, also, which bank will you trust the most in Sierra Leone? I mean, I use EcoBank. I don't really love it, to be honest. Sorry if there's anybody from EcoBank. I just had a call with them at work. Don't kill me, guys. Still advertise on Jamia, please. Look, I've had a better experience with UBA here locally. I went to UBA the other day to open an account. Seamless process, really professional, good people, good with service. I hear UBA Sierra Leone is really good too, so I think they just got a good culture. So I would say UBA is the one that was recommended to me, and I'm recommending it now that I just have opened an account with them. I want to have online access to my bank account in Sierra Leone. You can. They all have apps. They all have websites. Limited in some of their functionality. I hear UBA's app is really good. The EcoBank one could use some work. How are the fees? You know what? To be honest, I don't remember, but it's at least like $1.50 or something like that per use. Yeah. So it kind of is what it is. So Miss P, Pro Women J, Jose Cruz, peace, goodbye, good night to you all. Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping that those are all the questions for tonight. It's 11:07 here. I'm going to have to call it a night, but thank you all for joining. If you have any other questions, ask me in the replay. So the replay will be live on my YouTube channel. And so you'll be able to just ask any questions in the comments there. Happy to answer any of your questions. And with that, guys, we're going to call it a night. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. And I will see you guys all on the next live on Monday. And I will also see you on Wednesday with my next video. Make sure you all watch it. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. All right, guys. See you in the next video.